We're getting in the FSBO door.
Whoa!
Are you afraid of FSBOs? A lot of agents are reluctant to even walk up to the door and knock. I have a program, takes 7 days to get over the fear of for sale by owners.
You do?
Yep. It only takes 7 days and you'll definitely be over the fear.
I didn't know this.
Okay.
All right. Well, you better tell us.
Day 1, drive by and gaze longingly at the door. Day 2, stop the car and gaze longingly at the door and then drive away. Day 3, stop the car, get out and gaze longingly at the door.
Okay, we got the idea.
Day 4, stop the car, get out, walk up to the door, and then run away. All the while thinking, if they do answer the door, what would I say? Next day, stop the car, get out, walk up to the door, ring the bell or knock, and then run away. And think about, what would I say if they'd actually come to the door? And by the time you get to day 7, you'll actually stop there and think of something to say. And if you can't think of anything else, carry a clipboard and wear a hard hat.
I came by to inspect your water
I guess.
tank.
Oh, you want to get in the FSBO door, wait till they hold open house. Then they have to let you in the door.
Oh, there is a way.
What is our job? If you're prospecting for listings, your job is pretty simple. It's to find people who are thinking of selling. So here's a question. How many for sale by owners do you have to visit to find one who's thinking of selling?
1.
That's a pretty good ratio.
That's a way better ratio than most other ratios. Calling expireds is not 1-to-1.
No.
Cold calling is not 1-to-1. Calling even your prospects, your sphere of influence people, book of business people, that's not 1-to-1 either. So this is a pretty good hit ratio. And what else do we know about for sale by owners? Well, one thing we know is that most of them end up listing.
They do.
And they become your best fans.
Oh, boy.
Sometimes the people that are hardest to get, they become the most outspoken people because, we tried to do it on our own and Mary got us, and when you can show them that you will put more money in their pocket, that they will have a smoother transaction, that they're going to actually move. Oh, this is wonderful.
So other than waiting for them to hold open house, how do you get in the door?
That's what today's subject is.
I want to use an analogy because if you've ever played golf, if the ball doesn't get to the hole, it can't go in the hole. So it all begins with you actually going to the door.
If you've ever played golf with Michael and you putt and you don't go past the hole, he always says, how many short putts go in?
That's right.
And of course the answer is
none of them.
Because they're short. Get it?
Right.
So what is that? Wayne Gretzky had that one too. You lose all the shots you don't take. So how many shots are you taking at for sale by owners? Floyd used to say that they don't eat their young. I mean, there's a rumor that they do, but how bad could they be? They're not going to shoot you or bite your fingers off. They're going to yell at you, maybe. They're going to say no, maybe. They're going to slam the door in your face, maybe, but maybe not.
He also said this, if you go over there to get the listing, that's why you won't even get in the door.
Right?
Yes.
So let's talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, Get by Giving Award winner John Brown, a great friend of mine and of our Wickman family. His brother-in-law was selling by owner. And his wife, Lori, said, John, would you go over? They have a bunch of questions. And would you just answer their questions? Yeah, they don't want to list. They want to sell on their own, but they have some questions. Would you go help them? So he went over there. And 45 minutes into the conversation, they looked at him and said, would you list our house? Because he went over there to help, not to get the listing.
Yeah, it can be intimidating to encounter for sale by owner. And part of that intimidation is they've got their defenses up. You know, they're saying, no, we're not going to list, you know. And so they can come across aggressive or angry or not another realtor. Where's the buyer? You know, that kind of thing. So what? You're tough. What are you made of? Tough stuff. You're Wickman trained. What's the worst thing that's going to happen is you've wasted your time. And by the way, if today they're crabby, you're going to go back, right? Today they don't let you in. Or is it a one time you either let me in or you'll never hear from me again? I think you need a better system than that, because we know statistically they're going to list with someone. Who do they list with? The person that stumbles across them on the right day, or the person that follows up and follows up and follows up and has offered help and is kind and they've built a relationship. Maybe the relationship is only they've yelled at you, but the relationship they see from their perspective is that you were polite, that you were kind, that you tried to be helpful.
I listened to this wonderfully patient woman on the phone recently for about 42 minutes talking to an insurance company. Boy, can that be frustrating. And have to talk to two different people. And the second person finally helped her. And they told her that he was trained by the company, because they deal with older Americans frequently, they're health insurance companies, to treat everybody as if it was grandma or grandpa or their parents. So treat them like family. And it's a nicer way in the door. We're going to get you to the door, but are you going to work all the for sale by owners in your area or just a specific area?
I got an opinion on that.
Okay, what is it?
Well, what's your goal? Are you earning enough and now you're thinking of trying a little experiment with for sale by owners, but you've got enough income? I mean, you know, this would be a niche. This would be an add-in, right? Or are you starving and broke and, oh my God, I've got to work for sale by owners? Because I think if you're starving and broke and, oh my God, I've got to work for sale by owners, I think you need the largest area possible, like your entire marketplace outside of your marketplace, because you're going to get better at this the more that you do it. Just like you get better at riding a bike, the more you do it, the better you get better at doing listing presentations, the more you do them, etc. Are you with me? So start in a large area, you know. Don't embarrass yourself across the street with the guy across the street, right? Go out into farm country somewhere. Now, if you're already successful and this is a reluctant topic for you, right? Because that's why you're listening to this, because you want to know, how do I get in those for sale by owner doors? I've never really done it. I've done a lot of real estate, but I haven't done that. Well, then I would say you got to tell yourself, I can't drive past my competitor's sign, right? So then you don't have to go way out of your way, but you got to make sure that in your area, in your marketplace, in your town, in your neighborhood, in your subdivision, whatever it is, that all of those you work, because it would be painful to go past a competitor's sign every single day. This is the one on the way to the grocery store. We got to work that. So how are you going to get in the door? And that's the topic we've got to present to you today.
And we've already covered, first you have to get to the door to get in the door.
That's what that was, huh? And I'm glad you pointed that out.
Let's say they actually answer the door.
All right.
What do you say? I think you ask a question. You introduce yourself, you ask a question.
You have to introduce yourself as a realtor. You can't pretend you're a buyer. You can't trick them. Those are the rules. You might want to have a card handy.
And there's a couple of questions we're going to offer you today. Just suggestions. Take what you want, leave what you don't.
Oh, you know what I just thought of?
What?
We prepared for you, I promise. But you know what happens when you prepare? You sometimes come up with an idea. There was a speaker that used to be on the circuit when I was an agent years and years ago, who used to pull into the for sale by owner driveway, leave the car running and the door open, and then knock on the door. Now, you know, in the Midwest in February, that probably won't work real well, but most of the time you might be able to pull that off, and it gives the impression that you're not here to stay long. It can lower defenses. So you might want to give that a try. Okay. Now,
That's really cute.
I know, it's a cute little idea. Okay, they come to the door.
Introduce yourself and ask this. Have you found a buyer yet? There's only really two answers.
There's only two ways that can go, right?
And the first is no.
So what do you do if they say no?
Oh my God.
You remind me of the Home Alone kid.
How long have you been on the market?
Okay.
Have you had any showings?
So pro.
Any offers? Yeah.
Why haven't you been able to find a buyer?
Start a conversation. What methods are you using to market the property? Get a conversation going. And that's if the answer is no, we haven't found a buyer yet. If they say yes, well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how did you qualify them? Have you seen proof of funds?
Wait, have they written an offer yet?
Oh.
Are you in a binding contract?
What purchase agreement are you using?
Which mortgage company are they going to? Have you talked to the lender at all?
Who's doing your closing work for you?
Right.
Get a conversation going.
Right.
And then here's another one. If I had a buyer who would pay your price plus my commission, would you consider a one-time showing?
Well, do you have a buyer?
Well, actually, I don't know. I haven't seen the house yet. Would you be willing to show it to me and point out everything you'd want me to point out to a buyer?
By a show of hands, how many of you knew that that's what Michael was going to say?
I was hoping you would.
Look at you.
Yeah. And so as you're walking through, then you're asking, what purchase agreement are you using? Who's doing your closing work? How do you qualify buyers?
Right. In other words, you're creating, it's like the John Brown story, the Get by Giving Award winner story, where you're creating their question in their mind is, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was that complicated. No, I haven't done any of these things. I don't even know how to answer that question. So, the accumulation of those questions may very well cause them to say, yes, I'd be happy to do a sit-down appointment with you. Because ultimately, that's what you want. You see, the last thing you want, if you've listened to the pricing presentation, the last thing you want is to shoot them a price. Well, what do you think of our price? Well, I have to do some research. I know the area pretty well. I'd really be more comfortable after I really look at the data specific to your property and what I've seen here today. Let's set an appointment to come back and do that if you'd like.
Most of my clients are not so concerned about the price they get as they are with how much they walk away at closing in cash. Net, in other words. Are you like that? Yeah. How much net do you need to make moving possible for you?
Has anyone shown you what it looks like your proceeds will be at the closing table?
And then if they ask you, well, how much commission do you charge? Or I don't want to pay a commission. Or what about I don't want to pay the buyer's commission? Right away, you're only charging half.
Yeah, and that's a little technique that you can use upon the presentation of the net sheet, by the way. You can put your portion of the commission as a listing agent in at the sit down when you do a net sheet after you've discussed pricing. And then you could put on a separate line what a buyer broker might suggest based on your knowledge of the area, the marketplace, the price point, whatever. And you can show both of those or only one of those, because you're only charging, they would only be paying your portion unless they could agree that the buyer brought in a worthy offer. That's the only time that they'd have to pay the other portion, or maybe not. So you can have that conversation, but that's way down the road. So
as you're walking through the house, though, I want you to refamiliarize yourself with the For Sale by Owner Help Kit.
Oh, yeah.
Because you remember the way we describe a hot button? It's are you familiar with and the name of the hot button, and then what it does and what life would be like without it if you didn't have it, and would something like that be of interest to you? Well, the For Sale by Owner Help Kit has 8, 9, 10 different items on it Go back to your student resources or the hub or the vault, find that for sale by owner help kit and say, are you familiar with, and one of the ingredients from the help kit? And here's what it does for you. Would something like that be of interest to you?
When I teach that in the live class, which by the way, we still do, I always say, choose the thing that is the crummiest item on the whole help kit list and bring that one item with you. So you put the help kit, by the way, not the entire kit. It'd be like bringing a first aid kit in the door. You're not bringing in all the bandages and the iodine and all of that. You're bringing in a list of all the items that are in the kit, but you're only bringing in one roll of gauze. So you chose one of the items to give to them today in case they need the gauze, but I'd be happy to come back with any of these other items. So which is the crummiest item on the list? That's the one you want to bring in. Now, usually my classes will say the crummiest item on the list is the open house, what is that called? Open house autograph, a register, right?
Yeah.
So you might say, are you conducting open houses? I saw your open house sign. Have you had an open house yet? Oh, when have you got one planned for? How are you planning to market that? Oh gosh, I hope you have good luck. I'm having an open house on Sunday. That's great. Listen, I brought along with me a little, what did you call it? Register. I lost that word. Sorry.
Register, yeah.
An open house register that you can use, have each buyer sign in. It kind of has two purposes. One would be in case someone expresses an interest, so you have a way of following up with them. And another, of course, would be in case you're missing something that was stolen during the open house and you've got, something to report to the police. You don't have to say that, but you could. Anyway, I thought I would give you this to help you out if you were having opens. And I brought my clipboard here with the other 14 items that I have. Do you see any of these that might help you? And the way the help kit works is that you show them the items, and there's some really cool ones on there, like how to stay out of prison, selling your own home. It doesn't say it exactly like that, but that's what it is. A list of items that can get you in legal trouble when you're selling your own home. So let's say they pick that one and they say, well, that one sounds interesting. What's that about? And you say, well, I'd be happy to share that with you. By the way, do you own the home just yourself or do you have a partner? Oh, you do? Oh my gosh. Would he, she, they be here now? I'd love to meet them. Oh, they're at work. Well, tell you what, why don't I do this? Why don't I bring back this tool that will help keep you out of jail, selling it on your own. And I'll come back at a time when I could meet your significant other. Yeah. Maybe Saturday morning. I'm good at 9:30, or would sometime on Sunday after our open houses be better? And so I'm going to come back to give them the help kit. And so they say, all right, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, 4:30. All right, see you then. And I turn to go. Now, as I turn to go, what happens to their defenses? They start coming down. I'm leaving, right? So I turn to leave. And then I say, oh, I just had another thought.
That's that old, coming back.
Who is that?
Columbo.
Yeah, he would always do that. He'd confront the murderer. And then he'd say, oh, okay, well, I guess you're innocent then. And he'd turn around to leave, because what happens? Defenses come down. And then he'd turn back and say, just one more thing. So you would say, just had another thought. As long as I'm coming back and going to sit with both of you, why don't I do the extra step of bringing you some current properties that are competing with yours. So you've got an up-to-the-minute report on what your value might be. And by the way, I'd be happy to even make one of those net sheets up so you'd have an estimate of how much cash you'd walk away with. Would something like that be okay with you, as long as I'm coming back anyway? And now what you got is a sit-down appointment, as opposed to, oh, just put it in the door. We're back here. Just leave it. I don't want to be back to drop something off. I want to be back to sit down at a table and provide my service. Does that make sense?
Now, we had a webinar with Kyle Draper a little while back about video.
You were maybe at it.
And why people trust who they see.
Yeah.
So if you're going to leave anything behind, make sure your picture's on it.
Yeah.
Like a refrigerator magnet, calendar, sports schedule, something like that with your picture.
A keeper.
Right.
A keeper item.
And then after you get back from the visit, send them a video, text them a video, because people trust who they see.
Maybe even a handwritten note. But that won't get there for 3-4 days, right? So the video immediately, they see your face again. They can show it to the partner that wasn't here when you stopped in. And then a handwritten note that arrives in 2-3 days. And then you are going to follow up and follow up and follow up and follow up. Do you have a system? What if you got out a yellow legal pad and made not Michael's 7-day, 7-step system?
How to get over the fear.
Something a little quicker than that.
Yeah.
But what if you made up a system? Like, what is step 1, knock, step 2, mail, step 3, video, then step 3, mail, step 4, when do I mail the next thing? When do I knock again? When do I call? Right? What if you came up with a little plan and put each of these people into your CRM with a targeted plan? And by the way, once you did it for one person, you could do it for a group, right? You'd have a real system.
Yeah. Once it's systemized, that's how you fine tune it.
Good luck.
And if you go back for your reappointment and there's no one home, I would leave a note that says, who's showing your home when there's nobody there?
Yeah.
Keep in touch. So how do you get in the door? Well, first you got to get to the door. Then the little question, a dialogue. And then as you walk through the house, ask more questions, more technical questions, like, what are you doing about appraisal gaps? What are you doing with multiple offers?
What's an appraisal gap?
What are you doing with an unrepresented buyer?
Yep.
Think about all those questions that cause them to think maybe I do need some professional advice or even your help. And the more often you go back, the more often you touch with them, the more likely it is that you'll be the one they turn to when it's time for them to list.
Yeah, if you're only going to knock once, have one conversation, stay home, have lunch, go shopping, because it's not going to turn into anything. This is a drip, drip, drip campaign. Requires a little bit of confidence at first, but I'll tell you what, you start doing this and you're going to become cocky. You're going to become kind of badass, like nothing's going to rattle you, no matter what they say or do, because you've seen it all, heard it all, and you're still standing. And that is what you're trained